You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its flavour, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. So Jesus says there are three things that as believers that we should be. First of all, he says we should be salt. He says we should be a light. And then he says we should be like a city on a hill. So let's have a look together and see what that means for us as believers. So first of all, Jesus says you are the salt of the earth. And that means that this world has no other salt than the believer, those who are saved. So what does it mean to be salt? And there are two things, aren't there, about salt, two factors about salt. First of all, salt gives flavour. And secondly, salt prevents rot. And before the days of refrigeration, if you wanted to preserve your fish coming into Grimsby, you packed it in salt. If you wanted to preserve your meat, you packed it in salt. Salt stops rot. In other words, it prevents corruption. So first of all, the first thing as believers we should be doing is giving flavour. Flavour. So what does that mean? Well, it simply means that if the Church of Jesus Christ was not in the world today, there would be absolutely no reason for God to deal with this world with his grace and mercy. The only reason that God deals with grace and mercy in the world is because of his people in the world. It was exactly the same in the Old Testament. Because Israel was in the world, God dealt with the world with grace and mercy. Israel failed to do what God wanted them to do. We have to ask a question, are we doing what God wants us to do? So we, the Church of Jesus Christ, are the only people in the world that makes the world acceptable to God. Without his people in the world is not acceptable to him. Have you ever thought about that? Most believers don't even give it a second thought. They don't even give it a first thought. That if we were not here, God would deal with this world differently. So what does that mean? Well, in the Old Testament, you see many times when Israel sinned and went away from God and they worshipped idols instead of worshipping God, he dealt with them very severely. Any nation that came up against Israel, God dealt with very severely. He protected his people to a certain extent, as long as they were obedient to him and doing what he wanted them to do, and they were living according to his will and purpose. He protected Israel. He fought the battles for them. When vast, great armies came against them that they had absolutely no chance of defeating, God stepped in and defeated those armies. He brought judgment on them. And the only thing that is stopping God from absolutely bringing the final judgment on this world is the fact that we are in this world. But the day will come when he will judge the world, and he will judge it according to his law and his will. So as long as we are in this world, we have a duty to the people of this world and to God to live in this world as salt that gives flavour. Wherever we are, God has put us there to give flavour. You might be the only Christian in the place where you work, and you think, I want to get out of here. But if you get out of there, there's no flavour. You're the only one there, that one, if you like, grain of salt that gives flavour.
So you must remain active. It's very important.
You have to remain active, led by the Spirit as to what to do. Wisdom is important, but we'll come to that.
Yeah.
So we're put in a place where God wants us to be, to give that place flavour, to be the salt in that place. If you run away from that place where God's put you, then those people don't have anything to flavour them anymore. And I've known enough people who have prayed. They want a job, and God gives them a job, and then they get the job and they get into the workplace and they say, I don't like it here. These people are so nasty, these people are foul-mouthed, these people do this, these people do that, I'm leaving. And you have to ask yourself, why? I've prayed. I want a job. God gave me a job. And then I'm leaving because I don't like the people I'm working with. And instead of asking the question, why did God put me here? Why did God put me here?
There's a sound from the door, I think. That's in the room.
Oh, hello. Hi, hello. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. Are you alright, Jan?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was okay.
yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.
Hello.